So there has been a myth. Venus in astrology is not just about love. It's not just about romance. Our Venus sign is actually the core of what we crave, what we need in love, what we're longing for. It's your attraction code and your relationship karma all wrapped into one. And chances are you probably haven't heard the truth about your Venus sign yet, and that's what we're going to get into in this video. Venus doesn't show up as loudly as our sun sign. It's kind of whispered in the background, and it's playing those patterns we show in love. When we're chasing, when we are running away from love, when we are spending a lot of money on our significant other, when we're not buying them any gifts at all. It tells us about the way we spend money, the way we self-soothe, the way we want to receive love. And when I say receive love, it's the secret needs that we're too afraid to speak out loud. If you don't know your Venus sign, you can go online and calculate it for free. Just look up Cafe Astrology and put in your exact birth data, or you can also do it on Astrocharts, and it's the Astrocharts website with the dash in between. I'll put it up here and it'll tell you your Venus sign in your chart, and then you can just use that for this video. Before we dive into the Venus signs, I want to give this disclaimer. Venus signs, they don't lie. They don't sugarcoat, and we're not just surface level astrology. Venus signs are this energy of beauty, of magnetism, of divine feminine force, no matter how you identify. But it is also that part of you that gets scared, that can get impulsive, that can slip into self-sabotage, the part of you that can be overly attached or avoidant. And depending on where your Venus sign was placed when you were born, which house it's in and all of that, this might be more advanced, so you don't have to listen to this. You might not understand it. Where your Venus sign is in your chart also determines if you're more comfortable with a very bold, intense, adventurous love, or if you're more comfortable with, taking naps with your partner and having more of a slow, calm, very connective, emotional, loving relationship. Beneath all of this, your soul, your Venus sign, is trying to tell you something about the way you love. And that's why we're here, not just to tell you the cute stuff, but to go beyond the surface level. I'm not just going to tell you that Venus in Taurus loves food and that is how they self-soothe. We are going to unlock the truth, the deeper meaning, the part that most astrology skips over, the patterns, the self-sabotage, and see yourself and see your love life in a new light that is going to bring a lot of healing for you. This video is for the people who want to answer the question, why do I keep ending up in the same relationship cycle? The people who want to go deeper and understand more about themselves and their love relationship. We're going to go over how your Venus sign gives love, what it secretly needs, what patterns can go wrong in love, and how your Venus sign heals. So if you've been asking yourself, why do I lose interest so fast? Why do I feel like I'm too much in love? Why do I attract the people that don't give me what I need? Your Venus sign might have all the answers, and you don't have to be a full-time astrologer to know this. We are going to break it down in an easy, digestible way for everybody. Let's get into the video. We are going to start with Aries Venus. Venus in Aries doesn't just fall in love quietly. This is the placement of raw desire, of passion. They see love as a mission, as a pursuit, as a challenge, as an obstacle to come over. Aries doesn't sit back. They want to feel alive in love. They want it to be an active pursuit. They're going to be the ones to move first, to flirt first, to confess their feelings first. A lot of their love is instinct. They feel it in their gut. When they love you, they can feel it in their body, like they can feel it in the deepest part of themselves, and they have these instincts that they want to act on when it comes to pursuing their desired partner. But here is what most people miss. Aries Venus have this deep question asking themselves, if I don't try as hard, will I still be loved? Because Venus in Aries is often the engine in the relationship, they're energized, they charge, they give energy to other people, they're the first ones to enact things, to initiate. Sometimes they keep going and they don't realize they're doing most of the emotional labor to keep things happy, to keep things fulfilling. And when Venus in Aries is constantly generating this energy for other people, burnout begins because resentment starts to build within them as they're giving and being emotionally available. They're using all of this power to generate energy for others, but when their energy isn't mirrored or it's not met or appreciated, then they begin to burn out. They begin to get resentful of their partner. They start to feel unseen and they wonder, if I show up in a different way, if I don't try as hard, will I still be loved? Think of the excitement and the freshness as oxygen in the relationship for Aries. They want things to be fresh. They want things to be new and light and fun. They want new laughter. They want new passion, new adventure. Not because they're unstable, not because they get bored easily, but their soul just thrives off this constant variety and change. When things become too routine, too predictable, too safe, their natural energy is suppressed. They want to have this excitement and this inspiration, because that's what keeps them going. It is not a fear of commitment, it is a fear of stagnation for Venus in Aries. I want you guys to get that clear because there's a lot of misconceptions online. Yes, intimate chemistry is very, very important. They need to have that intimacy, they need to have that draw, that magnetism, and they show their love in playful yet kind of blunt ways. They flirt, they tease, they dare, they challenge their partner. They want that heat, they want that fire. And this energy is magnetic, but because they show up like this, people forget that under the surface, they're not confident all the way through down to each and every layer. There's still a part of them that is raw and vulnerable and needs to be loved and accepted for who they are, and not just their energy that they give to everybody. These people have this deep love, and they also protect the people they love so fiercely, and they'll protect themselves very fiercely in their own independence. They really, really crave intimacy, but they have this deep fear of being controlled by their partner. But the secret is they want to be able to surrender and just relax and release, but only if they find someone who has that strength and that power to deal with their fire, to deal with their chaos, to handle their fire without trying to extinguish their passion. The spiritual lesson of a Venus in Aries is pacing. Not everything needs to be a chase, not everyone needs to be won over. Venus in Aries is learning to build emotional endurance for the long run, so it's not just chasing, getting the person, getting exhausted, but having a steady pace and routine where they can have the person for long term, and they know how to keep the relationship going for the long term. They're learning that true love doesn't constantly need to have adrenaline to stay alive, that it can be slower and more steady, and they're learning how to pace themselves so they don't burn out by the time they actually get that person that they wanted. If you have this placement, you might feel like you're always the one putting in the effort, always the one who cares more, but the truth is that's not a weakness, that is passion. That's one of the best traits about you. You're just learning when to pour in all of that energy and when to sit back and receive. And this can be harder, especially for people who identify as female, to get into their more female energy, because Aries is a very masculine, creative drive, trying to chase and go after the next thing. You do not have to prove yourself by being the fun one, by doing the most. You deserve to also sit back and receive. The right person is going to choose you without the fireworks. And yes, the Aries Venus does have a shadow side. That can be impulsivity. So sometimes they mistake chemistry for love, and they'll jump into relationships a little too quickly. They can also confuse someone who's emotionally unavailable as a challenge to kind of conquer and then bring out their emotions and open them up. You're not here to win at love. You are here to experience love in the rawest form possible, because Aries energy is so raw, so passionate, so fiery. There's also this issue of temperament and perception. People can perceive you as intimidating or too bold, too cutthroat, too direct. Then you might try and dull yourself down and play games back and forth with people to hide who you really are. And this is going against your natural energy. You are meant to show who you truly are. Of course, being mindful of the words you say and how it affects people, right? Not being crazy blunt where you just push everybody away, but not dimming yourself down, right? There's a balance here. You must show love through your action, show love through your boldness, not try and play games or hide. Because when you're in your power, you are so magnetic. You remind people that they have the ability to feel passion. Because sometimes people forget, especially as we grow older, they think that that's only for kids. You bring back this spark once you have the courage to fully be seen. If you are dating someone with an Aries Venus, here is the secret. Keep things fresh, go on adventures, match their energy, let them know that it's okay if they show up and they're not the super bubbly, excited, energetic person, that they're okay to show up however they're feeling. Give them space to lead, but also surprise them. They do not want to be needed by their partner. They want to be wanted for who they are and their energy. The best part is Aries partners are protective, they are loyal, they are fiercely loving, they will hype you up, they will fight for your dreams as if they are their own, but they need to feel chosen, and once they do, they will build this love with you. Their sole lesson is that their presence doesn't need to be performed, that love doesn't need to be dramatic in order to be deep. True passion can kind of slow down to a steady burn and have its cycles of being higher and lower along the way. It doesn't have to always be this huge spark 24/7. Because once a Venus in Aries feels safe to be their bold, authentic self, to be vulnerable, they become the lover who has this heart, this loyalty, this spark that never ever dies out. I love you guys so much. If you want to dive deeper into this, feel free to book a reading with me. I'll have it linked below. And if you have any questions, just comment as well and let me know your experience with this placement. Let's move on to Venus in Taurus. This is very different than a Venus in Aries because Venus in Taurus knows that love isn't a performance, but it is slow and steady. This is the most sensual, grounded zodiac sign, and Taurus is traditionally ruled by Venus, so it's very at home. It teaches us that love isn't something we chase, but it's something that is built over time, slowly, deliberately, with trust and intention. This placement doesn't fall fast, but when they do fall, they are committed and they want rituals, they want consistency, and they want to feel like love is wrapped around them as a big cozy blanket because they are so sensual. Love is this experience for them. It's not just this emotion that can escape them, and they want to feel safe and adored. Taurus is a sign ruled by the senses, so they're going to feel most connected to their lovers when they're eating nice foods, when they have candles around, beautiful scents, comfortable fabrics. Physical touch is so important. They want to hear your voice in the morning. They don't want you to rush away from them. They want to be fully present and slow down in the moment with you. This is how they show love. This is how they want to receive love. And they also like creating a home that is like a sanctuary for their partner, knowing your routine, knowing your likes, and cooking food for you, decorating in a way that's very pleasant and safe and tranquil for you. But here's the energy that people often miss. This sign is so deeply sensitive. Casual relationships for a Taurus Venus is very unsettling because they want emotional stability. They want to know that you are going to be there for them, that they can trust you, that you are loyal, because they want to commit. They want someone that they can depend on and trust in. They may pretend at times that they can do the casual thing, but at the end of the day, this is not meant for them. This is not a placement that moves on quickly. If you break their trust, it is pretty much broken, or it can take a very long time to repair and for them to heal. They can feel that betrayal, that disappointment in their body, so doing a lot of yoga or meditation or energetic work on releasing that from their body is very important. You probably meet these people and they're very calm and unbothered on the surface, but deep down they're carrying a lot of betrayal and loss and pain within their heart. And you know, Venus isn't just about romance either. It also talks about our relationship to ourselves and how we value ourselves. Taurus Venus has this beautiful aura, this warmth, and this abundance that naturally radiates, so people are drawn to them. They want that energy in their life, but they can also attract people who take and drain that energy from the Venus in Taurus, so they need to be mindful about having those boundaries. This is the first shadow lesson. Do not confuse comfort with connection. You know, someone could offer you a lot of material comforts or give you a lot of sensual pleasures or cook you great food or provide for you, but this doesn't mean you have connection with them. Learning to say no and learning to understand when you're just being appreciated for the material comforts you provide them versus you being appreciated for your soul and who you truly are, because that's when it's connection. Sometimes people can take advantage of the abundance and the luxury and the material items you have to offer. Another thing is you guys could have a complicated relationship with self-worth, maybe overspending or shopping or buying luxury items to improve your sense of security, wanting to compensate or look like you have it all put together, attaching to material items to self-soothe. But when you're in alignment and you believe in your own worth and you feel innately worthy, and then you purchase these things knowing, you know, I love the physical comfort this brings me, but this doesn't define my worth, that is when you step into your more evolved side. True self-worth doesn't come from appearances, but it comes from alignment. And you become unshakably magnetic and magical, honestly, when you define your worth and when you believe in your worth. If you are in love with someone with a Venus in Taurus, the key to their heart is consistency. They don't need dramatic directions and emotional roller coasters or chaos or these huge displays of affection. They want consistency, for you to show up when you say you will, for you to text them when you say you will, to keep your word, to follow through. They can really tell when you're checked out, and nothing hurts them more than a partner who's being emotionally unavailable and hiding things from them. Also feed them, cook with them, share your favorite meals, go out to dinners together. Let food be a love language because they remember these moments, maybe the most in the relationship. Now let's talk about shadow work. So the first thing is Taurus Venuses can stay in relationships for too long, and it can become this stagnant energy because they fear change, they fear leaving or upsetting the other person. They can also avoid the deeper, more chaotic emotional conversations because they want to keep the peace. But again, comfort isn't always connection, and in order to have that intimacy they crave, they need to be open and vulnerable and honest. There can be this confusion of, I'm not unhappy, so I'm going to stay in the relationship, versus, I'm not fulfilled in the relationship. So are you fulfilled in your relationship, or are you just not unhappy? That's a really important thing to ask yourself if you're in a relationship for a long time and you're unsure of the future, because you might fear that change and getting out of it, but it could be what you really need. You are really learning how to have a love that is rooted in presence, deep presence, not just habit and routine. When in alignment, you are a partner that brings this loyalty, this depth, this love, this comfort, this deep care for your partner. You buy them the exact gift they mentioned once, the tea. You lit their favorite candle scent when they got home. Taurus Venuses want to build a life with you. They want to build a home with you. They want to slow you down and get you present in the moment, face to face with them. They are like your anchor in the storm, saying, I'm not going anywhere, don't worry. Even when the outside world is shaking up, they ground you and they have this beautiful presence and this calm tranquility to them. If you have a Venus in Taurus, know that slowness is not your flaw, it's one of your greatest strengths. You do not need to perform in love, and your true partner is going to appreciate how you nourish your depth and the pace that you take life with. Such a beautiful Venus placement with such an ability to love deeply and richly and have such devotion. So I love you guys so much, and if you want to go deeper, you want to learn more, you can book a reading with me. I'll have it linked below. And also, please let me know your experience with this placement or if you have any questions. I love you, and let's move on to Venus in Gemini. So Venus in Gemini loves with their mind before anything else. To feel attraction, there has to be that spark, and the spark is usually in a form of a shared idea or a shared conversation, of humor, of curiosity. They're not just drawn to the appearance, the physical. They want to be mentally stimulated. They're drawn to people's minds, and they want to know how your brain works, and they want you to stimulate them mentally before they're going to open their heart to you. They are not shallow though. They are not shallow. They are just selective. They can be very flirty, and it can seem kind of like lighthearted and playful, like they're teasing you, but underneath that surface, they are constantly analyzing and wondering, is this the right match? Can I really connect with you? Because love isn't about performing all the time, it's about presence for them. They really love in time and jokes, in quality time together, in having those shared inside jokes. Their love is very unexpected, it's very airy, it's very open-minded, it's very fresh. They crave aliveness and they thrive on movement. They want to feel like the relationship is always evolving, always changing, staying interesting, not dramatic, but engaging. Someone who makes them laugh until their stomach hurts. Someone who surprises them. Someone who keeps them from overthinking, or someone who keeps them thinking about bigger ideas in life. But here's the shadow side, and you might find this if you're a Gemini Venus, that you can talk yourself out of love just as easy as you can talk yourself into love. The overthinking, the analyzing, the what ifs, they're constantly running in the background. So they can kind of struggle with receiving love, because if it doesn't make sense on a logical level, if they can't trust it, if they can't analyze it, if it doesn't really make sense in their brain, they don't know how to open up to it, and they'll kind of test people in love, or they'll test situations in love. If you have this placement, you probably understand what it feels like to be curious but cautious at the same time. You crave intimacy, but sometimes when you get too close and it gets too heavy or emotional, you run or you drift away for a moment, not because you don't want to be there, but because you need to come up for some air, some freshness, some aliveness, and then go back to it. It can bog you down a little bit too much and feel suffocating. Their heart speaks. It doesn't just sit. They don't just sit in their feelings. They share ideas. They talk to you. They'll make you a playlist. They will remember something you said about a book from weeks ago and bring it up to show their love. They will write you a beautiful crafted text or a letter. It's not just a feeling that they sit with. They really express their love through words. And so they need someone who can be on the receiving end of that. And they feel really loved when you really make an effort to get to know them intellectually. When you see them as like a library and you're very curious and interested in them, because they're very curious and interested in you. So they want to be able to talk and express themselves, and you really make an effort to remember what they say, to ask more questions and be curious about them, not just to love them and know them romantically. They never want to run out of things to discover with you, so always having a new topic of conversation or doing things that give you guys a new topic. Here's the thing, they need emotional safety without emotional pressure. Do not force them to get deep and go inside and pour out their heart and soul to you until they're ready, right? If you try and rush them, this can make them run away or feel too pressured. Let them unfold and share their love through their witty banter, their metaphors, their texts, and their humor and their ideas. When they do open up, you really want to listen listen to them because they're not going to open up to just anyone, and you need to be there with your whole heart. Being understood is the way that Gemini Venus wants to be loved. The shadow work is presence over performance. It is so easy for them to skip past their feelings and turn everything into a joke, but real intimacy doesn't come from like constantly putting on this performance, but allowing themselves to get messy, to get vulnerable, even when it doesn't make sense, just like spitting things out and being honest about how they feel. And they have a soul lesson of integrating movement and also stillness. So not leaving and jumping and running away when things get still and quiet in the relationship, but being in those periods of quiet and stillness and adding motion in ways outside of it. Learning how to have variety in the relationship, but simultaneously have commitment. And yes, they can commit to people for sure. And when they commit to you, it's not just romantically, it's intellectually. It's because they saw something in your mind that they want to get to know. They'll commit to you energetically, spiritually. They want to grow with you. They want to explore the world with you. They want you to be their best friend, their partner. They want to talk about memories, like remember when. They want to go on road trips with you. They want to have late night conversations. The love can't cage them. It needs to set their mind free. Love needs to be a vessel and a medium for them to actually free their mind and explore with you. If you are in love with a Gemini Venus, here's the key. Ask them engaging questions. Ask them things that people don't usually ask them that is going to make their mind like wander and think. Also, let them teach you stuff. Ask them to teach you different things. They get such a high from this, and don't be afraid if their mind wanders or their attention wanders. It doesn't mean that they are bored. They just need variety to stay plugged in. Keep surprising them, keep learning together. At their best, Gemini Venus is so fascinating, so communicative, so bright, so adaptable, and they'll show their love through listening, through talking to you, through adventuring with you, through making you laugh, and not just loving you romantically, but loving your soul, loving your mind, loving the stories you tell them. If you have this placement, just know you don't need to have all the answers before you tell someone you love them. You can just feel it. You don't need to overanalyze it. You can experience love without knowing exactly why you have the love for the person. You just have to trust that not only the right person is going to love you for your thoughts and your intellect, but they're also going to stay long enough to get to know your heart. You are not broken. You have such a beautiful, witty sign. All right, guys, if you want to go further, feel free to book a reading with me down below and comment your experience with this placement. Let me know if it was accurate, and I love you. We are going to move on to Venus in Cancer. All right, so my Venus in Cancers, you guys, you love like a tide. Soft, nurturing, protective, but it's powerful. You know, when a tide washes over, it has strength to it. You are a cardinal sign. This Venus sign doesn't just want romance. They want to build a home inside of their heart and the heart of the person they love. Their love is not casual. It is not surface level. It is generational. It is so deep. It is so all-consuming. And they can't just do casual relationships. Even if they try and tell themselves that, this can really hurt a Cancer Venus. They can't give their heart away to the full degree easily. It is the kind of love that remembers your childhood stories and remembers exactly what you need to feel comforted on a hard day. Cancer is ruled by the moon, so that means their love isn't just about the present. It's not about the future. It's about the past. It is about what you guys have been through, your childhood, memories, security, emotional safety. And Cancer Venuses aren't going to love very loudly all the time, but they love so sincerely. They will care for you in the ways that you did not know that you needed. Let's say that you're neglecting your health and you don't really realize it, and the Cancer Venus is so into health. They will do what they can to add those little things into your routine in a way that is going to work with your personality. Or let's say you are about to miss your train. They're going to care for you. Maybe they prepared a second ticket because they know that you're not always the best with timing. They just care for you and nurture you in a way where you feel like, wow, I've been missing this my whole life. I didn't even know that I needed to feel this. But here's what people don't really realize. That tenderness is also an armor. They wear a soft face, but on the inside, they have this inner world that is so strong, built on intuition, on loyalty, on trust. They are picky. They do not give their heart easily. They observe, they sense. They wait until they feel very, very safe until they reveal how deeply they feel for you. Because once they're in, they are all the way in. These are not the halfway lovers. This is a remember your mom's birthday, cooking a home-cooked meal even though they are so tired and exhausted. This love acts in care, small, consistent, thoughtful actions for their partner. They don't just love with words. They want to feed you. They want to protect you. They want to nurture you. Of course, this emotional generosity comes with the shadow side. So sometimes Sometimes Venus in Cancer can overgive, they can over-sacrifice and not know the boundary between their own needs and the needs of others. They can become overly responsible and take on the emotional burdens of their partner. If they feel emotionally unsafe or they don't feel appreciated, they will retreat into their shell and hide. They don't always argue, they will withdraw, they'll become emotionally distant, they'll close off, not because they stopped caring, but they're trying to protect those softer parts of themselves. They are learning the difference between caretaking and caring for a person. They're learning to set emotional boundaries so they don't lose themselves and people's needs. When they don't feel completely safe, they can be overly attached, overly clingy, and they can even feel resentful, especially if they've been taken for granted. The biggest lesson of them all is letting go of the past, letting go of the memories, the heartbreaks, the little resentments and memories they have of the relationship or of the people in their life. Sometimes they keep trying to love someone who only exists in their memories and holding on to the past, holding on to memories, holding on to what could have been. They can confuse nostalgia with compatibility, and this can keep them stuck, unable to receive the love that is trying to meet them in the present moment. If you have a Cancer Venus, you're probably constantly checking, do they really care? Can I rely on them? Am I safe? You're not needy, you are so intuitive, and you know you need to feel that stability before you pour your love in. And when you find it, you are one of the most loyal and emotionally intelligent people and nurturing people in the zodiac. But the key is to find that emotional safety within yourself first, and then once you love yourself enough, you can go into a relationship without overgiving. You deserve to be nurtured just as much as you nurture the person. The love that honors your softness instead of taking advantage of it. If you're in a relationship with someone with a Venus in Cancer, here's what they need. They need emotional consistency. Check with them, validate their feelings, show up when you say you will. Don't make them guess if you're still in it. They're always scanning for emotional abandonment. They're scanning for signs that you're out. Show up when you say you will. Make them feel safe to be fully in the relationship and love. And yes, bring them food, feed their mind, body, and soul. They love food. This is such a comfort for them. Share stories, ask them about their childhood. They love talking about this, and let them take care of you. Also take care of them and give them a home inside your energy, not just words of admiration. Shadow work is letting go of emotional control. Sometimes they hold back their truth in fear of messing up with the peace, but you do not have to hold it in all the time. Vulnerability is a strength. It's not a weakness. Your feelings don't make you weak. That truth, that honesty is where your real power lies, and it's how you will get to that intimacy you crave. Releasing the idea that sacrifice equates to love. Your love is sacred, it deserves to be reciprocated, and don't give your loyalty to people who don't give it back. At their best, these people are so intuitive, affectionate, emotionally reliable, and nurturing. They are healing, they bring comfort and depth to the relationship. Your love is not too much. Your desire for an emotional connection is not a weakness. That is available to you. You are here to create generational healing through love relationships. I love you guys so much. If you feel called, you can book a reading. I'll have that linked below and we can go deeper into your chart. And let me know if this resonated in your experience as a Cancer Venus. We are going to move on to Leo Venuses. Leo Venus does not love halfway. They don't love quietly. They love with their entire chest. They love loudly, radiant, expressive, and it's not just something that they feel. It is something they celebrate, and when they're in love, everyone can know it because it's radiating off of them. They're showing up with big gestures, flowers, they're posting about it, almost like a show, and it's not just for admiration, but it's because they're so excited. They want to celebrate love, and they want that energy back. Venus in Leo thrives on mutual admiration. It's about recognition, to be chosen every day. They want their partner to be proud of them and show them off even, not just loving behind closed doors. They want to be someone's source of pride, and they want the energy back. They want to feel like they make the person glow, and they want the person to make them glow. They will hype you up. They will make you feel like royalty. One of the most generous, uplifting placements there is. Public affection and showing them off in public is not just an addition, but it's a requirement for love. They need to know that you are proud to be with them. Here's the thing that most people see though, behind the self-expression, the confidence, the theatrics, Venus in Leo has this very tender heart that aches and desires to be seen. They put so much energy into showing up for others, and it can be crushing when others don't do the same for them. Their shadow side is overgiving, overperforming, trying to be enough to win the admiration of people. They might start to believe that if they're not always exciting, they're not always entertaining, they're not earning their love through performance, then they won't be loved and they won't be enough. But that is not true. They are already the prize. They don't need to prove their worth. And once they realize how much energy and how much beauty and how worthy they are of love, they will be magnetic. Once they are loyal, they are fiercely dedicated, sometimes to a fault. They want a partner, not just a lover, someone who shares the same vision, same ambition, someone who brings the drama but in the best way, through celebration, through fun, not through chaos. They are also also big on respect. If you disrespect a Leo Venus, that will cut them deep. They could brush it off in the moment, but then they'll remember it over time. They'll start to dim themselves. Not dimming themselves for peace, but dimming themselves out of this deep sadness. If you have a Leo Venus, likely at some point in your life you were told you're too much, you're too expressive, too confident, too loud, too much of something. But here is the truth. You're not too much. You were just giving your heart and your love to people who try and make you play small, who are scared of that level of confidence and who can't love you in the way you need. It's not a you problem, it's a them problem. You are not too much. You need someone who sees your brilliance and reflects it back. Someone who wants to co-create and share that joy with you. If you are in love with someone with a Leo Venus, here's the key. Show up consistently. Don't just say you love them, demonstrate it, write it in notes, in public displays, make the plan, show affection, compliment them genuinely. They thrive on being reminded that they matter, and they'll do the same for you. Let them perform, let them shine, don't make them compete to get the spotlight. The spiritual lesson of a Leo Venus is that you don't have to perform to receive love. By being put together or entertaining, you are perfect just the way you are. You might ask yourself, can I be loved without applause? Can I be loved on my off days when I'm quiet? Someone will hold space and love you even on the days that you're not showing up as the life of the party. You don't always have to be on. When a Leo Venus is healed, they are the partner that brings light to every single room, that inspires and uplifts others. They stand by you in your darkest moments, not letting you forget your worth. They are the inner artist, and they bring out the artist and creativity and love within you. Passionate, they are playful, they are inspiring, they are like royalty, and they bring out the inner child. They remember the silly nicknames from your first date, the dramas, the dreams you said out loud. They celebrate your milestones like you'll never forget them again, and they frame all of your letters. Leo Venus, you are not here to entertain your way into connection. Your love is sacred. You are here to be fully seen, bold, and unapologetically. If you guys want to go deeper into this placement, you can book a reading in the link below. I love you so, so much. Let me know your experience, and we are going to move on to Venus in Virgo. Venus in Virgo doesn't fall in love all at once. They observe, they strategize. Love for them starts in the small things, like the way that you stir their coffee for them if you get the coffee order right, the way that you make the bed in the morning, the way that words match your actions, the way that you treat strangers. This is a Venus placement that pays attention, and when they love you, they're not going to shout it from the rooftops and make it this big public display. They show up quietly, they show up consistently with more depth than you'll ever realize. Love for them is about integrity, not these grand gestures. It's about making life smoother and easier. They will fix the small things you didn't even know were broken. They will do the dishes. They show their love through acts of service, and it's quieter. Bringing you your favorite drink, remembering your appointment. That's how they show and say, I love you. But here is the truth that most people miss. Virgo and Venus sometimes thinks of love as a duty, as a responsibility. Not in like a burdensome way, but in a sacred way. Putting it on themselves. They believe that real love means showing up, not just when it's easy, even when it's inconvenient, and that's why they will show up time and time again and sometimes be prone to overgiving. Their shadow is overfunctioning and self-sacrifice, doing everything right in the relationship but still not feeling like enough. Venus in Virgo is always looking to improve themselves and improve the relationship. They want things to be smoother, smarter, stronger, better. But when that energy turns internal in an unhealthy way, it can be very critical. Like, maybe if I just fix this, I will finally feel love. You know, Venus in Virgo doesn't want perfection from others, but they always expect it from themselves. They can struggle with receiving love, especially if it feels uncertain and kind of messy. They can try and fix their emotions and not want to deal with it, but they're learning that true love can be raw. Emotions can be messy. They're here to learn that they don't have to be productive. They don't have to earn love through their actions. Love doesn't constantly have to be improved. Sometimes love is just being. Sometimes love is just messy, and that's okay. If you have this placement, you may have a deeper fear of being a burden. You would rather help than be helped, and you'd rather go after and fulfill your partner's needs than ask for help. You don't want to feel needy, but real love means asking and advocating for your needs and letting them be fulfilled. It's a partnership. It's not just you. You are allowed to be held and loved for who you are, not just what you do. They will express their love through precision, through actions. Acts of service is their love language. Editing your resume, helping you with work, helping you clean the house. If you're dating someone with a Virgo Venus, watch for the little things. Do not expect like a love bomb in this dramatic display, but watch how they help you write the email, how they edit things for you, how they bring you your favorite order. Appreciate those little acts of service. That's them showing their love. Do not dismiss their efforts of showing up for you, because that can shut them down. Acknowledge the energy in the subtle ways that they show up. Say thank you, say that you appreciate and you you recognize it, and the trust will grow and the bond will deepen. This Venus sign can also have incredibly high standards for themselves and for their partner. They can be very picky with their partner. They want to be useful. They want to be devoted to their usefulness. They also need someone who's going to teach them that it's okay to rest. They don't always have to be on and productive, and someone who can help them soften and make them realize they're loved even in silence. Their spiritual lesson is to let go of perfectionism and know that they don't have to always have it together. Love is not like a checklist or a test. It's not a project, it's a process. When you let yourself be loved for your whole being and not just your actions and your logic, that is when you truly experience comfort and security. You will find such peace. Virgo Venuses, when they're healthy, they're devoted, they are kind, they are consistent, and they will stand with you even when things are falling apart. They will help you rebuild even when everything falls down. If you have this placement, you often see the things that other people overlook. Please let me know, do you have a Venus in Virgo? And if you want to go deeper, you can book an astrology reading with me as well. I'll have that in the description. And we are going to move on to Venus in Libra. Venus in Libra, love is personified. Love is charming. It's romantic. Venus is at home in Libra. They make falling in love look effortless. But do not mistake this grace for shallowness. Beyond that polished exterior is a soul that craves harmony, connection, and true partnership. This Venus placement really understands that love is a shared dance, where both people matter equally and each step is to be taken with care. They're often described as the romantic. It's so much deeper than that because Libra Venuses are always looking for balance. Not just emotional balance, but spiritual balance. They want a relationship that feels fair, balanced, respectful, collaborative. They're like the architects of intimacy, always adjusting the structure to make both people feel safe and secure. But here's what most people don't often see. Venus in Libra can sacrifice themselves so much so because they're worried if they assert themselves or they share their boundaries, they will mess with the peace. If I show too much of myself, will it throw things off balance? They can choose their words very carefully and almost be quiet and kind of hide themselves in order to make sure things run smooth. And that's where the shadow lives, because Venus in Libra can be a mirror, reflecting what you want, adapting to your ideal partner, so much so they can lose themselves in the process. They want to be loved so deeply they can sacrifice their authenticity for that admiration. But true love doesn't require shrinking, it requires truth. And this placement is here to learn that peace without honesty is a performance, it's fake. You've likely spent your lifetime trying to make things beautiful, your home, your relationships, yourself, but who brings that for you? You deserve to be seen, not just for the beauty you create, but for your boundaries, and your boundaries to be respected. You guys can fall for potential and idealize love. You see the best in people. You want to see this dream relationship with the potential where you guys grow together and you support each other. And that dream can be so beautiful, but sometimes you stay in connections too long because of what you are attached to in your mind. Forgiving too easily and accepting the breadcrumbs, thinking they're going to turn into a feast. The lesson is that love isn't always poetic. Sometimes it's really messy and it requires honesty and vulnerability. Venus and Libra can elevate people through love. You bring out the most charming, soft, refined version of the people you're with. But you also need someone who can hold space and who's strong enough to deal with the messy moments, who doesn't expect you to always be calm, composed, and pleasing. If you are in love with someone with a Venus in Libra, remember that yes, they do need beauty, but not just emotional beauty. They need the beauty of listening, of fairness, of being present, of soft-spoken words in hard times. Ask for what they want. Don't make them choose between honesty and harmony. Get to the deeper side of them. Explore their desires. Make space for opinions. They are also highly intellectual. They like people that can challenge them in a gentle way, mentally stimulating conversations, mental foreplay, talking to them, listening to their emotions. The shadow work for a Libra Venus is self-prioritization, choosing themselves even when it disrupts the flow, saying what they need and knowing that that honesty is not a threat to the connection, that that honesty is the foundation. And yes, this placement is great with aesthetics of music, art, elegance, and they kind of hate that very aggressive, exaggerated, messy energy. Environments really matter. If it's a very tacky, harsh, unorganized environment, that will deeply affect them. They will do almost anything to create inner peace for themselves and for their loved ones. At their best, these people are beautifully attuned, they are thoughtful, they are loving, they are charismatic, they are diplomatic, they are great listeners, emotionally intelligent. They will plan the perfect date, they will show up with a heartfelt letter, they craft with intention. If you have this placement, know that your presence is healing. You are not too sensitive, you are not too romantic, and don't be so focused on on the us that you forget about the you. If you guys want to go deeper into your chart, you can book a reading with me. I'll have it linked in the description, and please let me know your experience as a Libra Venus. And now we are going to move on to Venus in Scorpio. Venus in Scorpio doesn't love halfway. They don't do casual. They are all in or they are all out. They love like it is life or death because it is for them. This is the placement of a deep, sacred, spiritual love. They want to completely merge with your secrets, your shadows, your fears. They want to know all of you. And if they can't have all of you, they don't want any of it. They need honesty. They need a partner that they can trust because they are a human lie detector. They hate the idea of anyone being unfaithful because they would never do that to them. Beneath all this loyalty, this passion, this magnetism, there is a heart that has truly suffered because Venus in Scorpio has gone through some of the hardest and darkest sides of life. While their love looks like it's so fearless, their love is actually rooted in this deep desire to feel safe, to feel powerful, to feel secure. They want to feel in control. They want to feel like they're not going to be betrayed, because betrayal is the wound here. Abandonment, lies, that sense that if they give themselves fully, it might lead to heartbreak is the most devastating thing for a Scorpio Venus. So they will test you. They will pull away from you. They will try and hide. They will see what happens, how you react to them if you're truly in it. They want to see who you really are before they let you see them. And when they do trust you, they will hand over their heart like it's this sacred fire. They feel love is so sacred, and they need you to feel that way too. Venus in Scorpio craves emotional nakedness. They don't just want to talk, they want to get into the depths. They want to sit with your pain, your passion, your past. They want to understand your truth, your motives. And once they do, when you offer that to them, they will give you a love that is transformative, that is healing, and that is deeply loyal. But this is not always easy because this placement carries a lot of control and a lot of fear. When they feel unsafe, they may try and dominate their partner emotionally. They can become possessive, emotional, closed off, not because they're trying to hurt you, but because that's their way of surviving through love. They've likely loved someone who didn't honor their depth and who made them feel like they were too much. And so they learn to guard themselves and hide themselves and act as if they don't care as much as you care about them. But they care so deeply. They care so deeply, and all they want is someone who's gonna love them and prove that love doesn't have to come with pain and it can be forever. If you have a Venus in Scorpio, your love changes people. Your love is a force. It's transformational. You can awaken people emotionally, spiritually, sexually, pierce through individuals. You have intense eye contact. You have a magnetic aura, and you want that same intensity back. You want someone who can handle it. You guys don't have to beg for honesty. You don't have to twist yourself to feel secure. You don't have to test love to know that it's safe. You're allowed to be vulnerable. You're allowed to be honest and be honored for that. To be open and seen and still feel fully safe. If you are in love with someone with a Venus in Scorpio, understand this. You're not just entering a relationship. You are entering a bond beneath the surface. One that will challenge you to be more honest, more present, more intimate than you have ever been. Do not lie to them. Don't hide your intentions. They will feel it. Even if you don't say it, they will know. And once trust is broken, it is not easily rebuilt. Not because they're unforgiving, but because they build love like a fortress, and every stone, every piece that goes into it matters. They are deeply devoted. They don't want a performance romance. They want to talk about the traumas, the occult, the loss, the depths of life, the truth. They also need solitude, stillness, time to recharge, and they need time to sometimes process emotions that they can't put into words, because feeling everything is exhausting. They are so intuitive. The shadow work for this placement is letting go of ownership, realizing love doesn't have to be about control, that intimacy doesn't mean surveillance, and trust can be built, and they can have someone they truly trust. It's also about letting yourself be seen fully, not just the powerful parts, but the weaknesses, the more tender and vulnerable portions of you, the parts that you try and hide. At their best, Venus in Scorpio loves with soul-shaking passion. At their best, Venus in Scorpio has this transformative, loyal, devotional, honest love that is so soul-shaking, so intuitive, and so passionate. They do not leave when things get hard. They will protect you like family, and they have a love that transcends the ego. If you have this placement, please let me know. And if you want to go deeper into your chart, feel free to book a reading down below. I would love to read your chart if you have this placement. It is so interesting. I love you so much. Comment any questions, and we are going to move on to Venus in Sagittarius. Venus in Sagittarius loves with an open heart and an open sky. This placement is all about expansion in all areas, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. They don't just want a partner. They want a fellow explorer, someone they can adventure with, travel with, someone who can match their thirst for freedom, for trust, for truth. To love this placement is to chase experience. They want laughter, they want intellectual debates, they want to be stimulated mentally, they want to think about the bigger ideas of life. They believe that love should make life bigger. not smaller. They want their relationships to be liberating, not limiting. They will fall in love with the people who make life more of an adventure, who want to explore with them, who say, okay, let's go to this late night coffee shop and study for a couple hours, or let's go do this craft, let's go on this road trip to this one place and take a picture, who want to debate moral ethics as they sit at a picnic. But underneath all of the playfulness, all of the humor, that don't tie me down energy, there's another side that is often misunderstood. These people fear losing their independence. They fear being caged in, fear of emotional intensity that they can't take, that they can't hold, not because they're afraid of love, but they've seen love turn into ownership and they don't want that to happen to them. They still want mutual freedom where they both have independence. When they do commit, it is real, but they want room to roam the world, roam the bigger ideas of life. They don't want to feel pressure. They want to actually choose their partner. If you have this placement, you've probably been accused of being inconsistent, flighty, non-committal, but the truth is you're so committed to your freedom and you want a love that celebrates freedom, and when you find that, you will commit to that person. You are not afraid of love. You are afraid of losing yourself in the love or shrinking, because you're always growing, you're always evolving. You need a love that is going to be able to do that with you, that won't keep you stifled, because you know you can't sustain that. The shadow side of this placement is sometimes Venus in Sagittarius avoids the deeper layers. They will skim to the surface, intellectualizing and joking themselves out of vulnerability. When love starts to feel a little too real, a little too heavy, they can start to run. Not because they don't care, but because they don't know how to stay in it and still feel free at the same time. They're really learning that true freedom doesn't mean running away, but it means learning a way to stay and still have freedom. If you are in a relationship with a Venus in Sagittarius, encourage curiosity. Give them space to roam. Let them teach you. Let them be wild. Let them share their wildness with you. Walk beside them and don't be afraid to grow and expand with them. They do not care how much money you make. They care if you love and you dream of something bigger than yourself. They care about your vision for life, your moral compass, your belief system. That's what they care about. They want to talk to you about the universe and your belief system, learn about your past and your future at 2 a.m. If you try and clip their wings or contain them, they will leave. But when you give them space to fly and you fly with them, that is when they will be loyal to you. The spiritual lesson for them is freedom through presence. A true love is not going to limit their spirit, it's going to make their spirit bigger. Yes, they are playful, they come off as very flirty, they might go through many connections in life, but when they see someone who truly makes them feel seen, they will tie down. At their best, these people are uplifting, they are passionate, they are visionary, they are inspiring, they will make you laugh when you're down. They will believe in your potential even when you don't. They will remind you of your worth. They will invite you to grow into your highest self. Please let me know what you learned from this video or what resonated, and if you feel called, you can book a reading. We are going to move on to Venus in Capricorn. Venus in Capricorn, you guys do not fall in love easily, and that's not because you don't feel, it's because you feel so deeply and you're selective with your partners. You understand that love is a responsibility and there's structure to it. It's not something to be rushed into, it's something to be built over time. A sacred long-term foundation needs to be built, a sacred long-term commitment. You need to build a foundation. It's not just about chaos. You don't just want to have a love that feels good in the moment, you want to have a love that lasts, so you don't chase fairy tales. Love is about commitment, integrity, and showing up no matter what, and you need someone who feels the same way. But here is the truth. Venus in Capricorn can feel scared to open up, scared to be vulnerable, because they've built up these emotional walls to survive, and tearing them down is just terrifying. So they move slowly, they test for consistency, they observe, they are selective, they want to see that you are committed and you can stand the test of time, and then they will commit to you and be deeply loyal. They aren't flashy, they might not say I love you every single day, but they'll help you fix your car, they'll help you do your taxes. They show love through making your life more secure, and they want you to build a sustainable future, and they'll help you do that. They want to help you build your future, not just float around in feelings. This does not mean they're cold, they're just cautious. Venus in Capricorn carries this wound of being let down, of being with someone who won't stay, or building something real with a person who won't value it. So this can really lead to emotional restraint, to control, to structure, but inside they are yearning for someone to see past that armor and say, you don't need to do everything alone. If you have this placement, there is a tendency to overfunction in relationships, to be the one who has it all together, holds down, but who's gonna hold you? You need to let people see the side of you that is tired or unsure or messy. You are allowed to be loved for not what you do, but who you are. You're allowed to receive care and rest. You also need a partner who is ambitious, who can keep up with your goals, your discipline, and doesn't frown upon your work ethic. Someone you can build with, a business, a home, a partnership, a legacy. You want a partner who can do that with you. Be mindful not to turn relationships and emotions into problems to solve. Love isn't a ladder to climb. You don't need to earn love. You can be loved for who you are. If you're in love with a Venus in Capricorn, understand that it's slow burning. Do not rush them. Don't demand emotional fireworks. mistakes. Show up with honesty, consistency, and maturity. Show them that you're reliable, not reckless, and that's when they'll begin to trust you. They also really appreciate tangible gestures like helping them out, helping them do things, getting things for them, taking care of needs they didn't know they needed, not just saying words. The spiritual lesson is learning as a Venus in Capricorn that vulnerability is a strength. Control may keep you safe, but it can also keep you lonely. You do not have to do everything yourself or be perfected to earn love. The shadow side can be stoicism that turns into being emotionally distant, high standards becoming a source of self-protection, or practicality leading to coldness, aloofness. But at their best, these people, Venus in Capricorn, is dependable, deeply caring, incredibly loyal, and they will support your dreams, they will support your career, they will help you build your future. They are steady and calm in the chaos, and they won't walk away when things get hard. Remember that your love does not have to be perfect to be valuable, and you deserve it just as you are. If you have this placement, please let me know in the comments, let me know your experience, and if you feel called, you can book a reading and we can go deeper into your chart. Let's move on to Venus in Aquarius. Venus in Aquarius does not do love by the book. They don't care about traditions, they don't care about rules or the people that came before them. They don't care about the relationship timelines and celebrating all the milestones if that's the tradition. For this placement, love is about freedom, it's about friendship, it's about alignment. They want a love that feels like evolution, not a contract. A soul connection that allows them to be themselves, to think radically, to have space to breathe, to talk with you, share ideas. They fall in love with the mind first. They're gonna fall in love with your ideas, with someone's weirdness, with someone's ability to stand apart from the crowd with them. They can be drawn to the bold, the revolutionary, the weirdos of the group, and their love can be exciting, unpredictable, but also deeply loyal. But you first have to earn their trust and prove that you can be a friend before they show that to you. Here's what most people don't realize. Underneath that cold attachment is a heart that feels everything. It's just behind a glass wall because they observe emotions. Instead of immediately expressing how they feel, they'll intellectualize them first. And sometimes they can feel distant, not because they don't love, but they're afraid of being consumed by emotions, consumed by the love, and not knowing how to handle it. They want autonomy. They value this. They want a partner, not a prison. They don't do clinginess. They don't do emotional chaos. They want room to think, to breathe, to explore. If they feel emotionally suffocated, they will step back, sometimes without explanation. If you have a Venus in Aquarius, you probably felt different in the way that you show love. Maybe you've always needed more space than your partners. Maybe you don't fall in love as easily and as quickly. Maybe you've chosen friends over lovers, or friends have turned into lovers. Or you're in relationships that look unconventional from the outside, and that's completely normal. It's completely okay. You are here to redefine love, to show that connection does not have to mean control, that intimacy can coexist with individuality, that commitment is not about possession, but it's about freedom of choice. Here's the shadow side, however, though. There is this emotional avoidance that can come with this placement. Venus and Aquarius can stay in their head when they are being asked to go within their heart. They could joke instead of crying, observing instead of feeling, and just fearing vulnerability because they don't want to be too much and they don't want to feel too much. But the secret is they long for being understood. When you love from this place, it is not surface level, it's deeply energetic. You guys pick up on the things others miss. You see the patterns, the unspoken truths, the emotional logic, but that doesn't mean you know what to do with these feelings. Sometimes you overthink instead of actually feeling them. If you are in love with someone with a Venus in Aquarius, remember that connection is key, but so is space. So don't try and control them. Do not guilt them into being close with you. They need to want to be near you, not feeling obligated. Engage with their ideas, be their friend first. Celebrate their uniqueness and love them in a way that honors their mental freedom. This Venus sign is ahead of their time. They want relationships that make sense to them, not to the traditions. This could be open relationships, long distance, friendship dynamics, polyamorous relationships, non-traditional gender dynamics. They don't care how it looks, they care how it feels. They really value the people who challenge norms and bring fresh ideas and question the traditions. They also want to build something with you, not just a home or a life, but a vision, a future. They want their relationship to be part of something more meaningful, bigger than themselves. They are learning that love doesn't have to be revolutionary to be real, that sometimes the most radical thing they can do is let someone in. Let someone see their fear. Let someone see their need to be held. And their spiritual lesson is emotional embodiment. Learning that it's safe to feel, it's safe to connect. Love isn't just a mental idea, but it's an experience. It's an energetic experience. When they find someone who loves them, who gives them the freedom, doesn't try and box them in, they become one of the most loyal and inspiring partners out there. They will support your dreams. They will push you to be your most authentic self. They will love you without trying to change you. And they will stand beside you in your mission, your weirdness, your vision. At the best, these people are so thoughtful, so independent, so compassionate, and deeply committed to the relationship that they've chose. They will not smother you. They won't fake it. They will be real with you. And they just love in such a beautiful way. If you have this placement, let me know your experience. And if you feel called to learn more about your chart and your astrology, you can also book a reading. And let's move on to Venus and Pisces. Venus and Pisces is love in the most ethereal form that there is. It is true unconditional love. This placement doesn't just want romance. romance. They want transcendence through love. They want soul connection. They want union. They want merging. They want a love that feels like coming home to something they've known in past lifetimes. Like they can just look in your eyes and feel it. Like they feel like you're their soulmate. They are deeply emotional. They are so wildly empathetic. They often feel things before they understand them logically. They love in waves. They don't just love in a straight line. They sense and absorb and pick up on people's moods and energy. They are so intuitive. Their intuition and their love is almost psychic. They can pick up on what you need before you even know. When they love you, it is gentle, it is unselfish, it is devotional. They see your potential. They see your softness. They see your wounds. They see you for who you are. And they want to wrap you up in affection. They want to wrap you up in forgiveness. They are so good at forgiveness, and they don't just love you, they love the essence of you. But here's what people mostly don't understand is that Venus and Pisces can carry a wound, a longing that has never really been named. They want to feel understood in a way that is healing. And that is the shadow, because they can fall in love with potential, they can fall in love with a fantasy, they can have rose-colored glasses on and see your potential or see your fantasy and fall in love with that. What could be, not what is. They are natural romantics, and that doesn't always mean that they're naive, right? It means they truly believe in love and magic and second chances, but sometimes that faith makes them give too much or stay too long, losing themselves in relationships that don't reflect their worth, that don't honor their worth. Because their love is unconditional, it can also be unguarded. They are learning that unconditional love is not the same as unconditional self-sacrifice. You can love someone deeply and still need boundaries. You can still believe in someone's potential but walk away when they don't meet you in reality. If you have this placement, you've probably been told you're too sensitive, that you live in a fantasy, that you romanticize too much. But this is a gift. It is a compass. Not everyone can tap into this. When you know when something is real, even when others can't see it, you have this deep inner knowing. You really feel safe in the moments that everything slows down and all that's demanded is presence. But sometimes you say yes when you mean no. Sometimes you drift, you disappear, you can become someone that people want rather than who you truly are, just to keep the peace because you don't want to be alone, just to feel connected. The truth is you'll never be disconnected. You're always connected to the divine because you carry this divine love within you. And when you learn to give some of that softness back to yourself instead of just trying to chase others and pour it into them, that is when you heal. If you are in love with someone who has this placement, who has a Venus in Pisces, know this. They need safety, emotional safety, spiritual safety. They want to know they can cry on you, cry with you, dream with you, and be held without judgment. Do not exploit their kindness. Do not tell them that their sensitivity or their softness is a weakness. And please don't lie to them. Confront them because they'll feel it if you lie. Nothing hurts them more than deception disguised through love. They don't need grand gestures. They need real ones. They need a warm touch, quiet night, a feeling that you're present, a shared song. And they also really can connect to love through art, through beauty, through music. This is how they feel comforted. They can fall in love with lyrics, shared silence, and through creating something together, they want to feel inspired by the relationship. Not just stability, but also inspiration within the connection. Sometimes they might fear stability at first, that it'll dim their light, but at the end, if they stop floating and they start trusting and allowing for stability, it actually really grounds them, improves their energy. And the spiritual lesson for these people is that setting boundaries will protect your softness, not make you less soft. That you don't have to rescue everyone to be loved. Your worth is not based off how much you give or how much you forgive. Sometimes the most spiritual act of love is walking away from what drains you. You are not here to be a martyr, you're here to be a mirror. To show others what love can look like when you're honest, when you're safe, when you're forgiving. You are not here to lose yourself in love. You're exactly what this world needs more of because you're so tender, you're so kind, you're connected to this divine love that not everyone can access, and you're here to show us how to get there and how to feel that. You are like a portal. Do not dim yourself down. Do not feel like you're too much. Please, if you feel called to, book a reading with me. I would love to talk with you guys. And if you have any questions or you want to let me know about your experience with this placement, please tell me a story in the comments below. And if you want more content like this, you can follow me on TikTok and on Instagram and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Okay guys, I love you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.